July 23rd, 2013, bringing it to you right here live. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you. Welcome to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. Fire Your MD Now. I mean every word, every syllable, every breath of it. Check out the website, fireyourmdnow.com. We're streaming live to YouTube right now, so check it out. Do a Google search or do a Ustream, whatever. Just go on there and check it out, fireyourmdnow.com. You can do it, and you can see my smiling face. And from time to time, if our guests are high-tech enough, we'll have their smiling faces on here, too. Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. The call-in number, 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. Hold your calls until the second hour, because in the first hour, we're talking to Mike Randolph, the Vice President for Leadership Development, my regular Tuesday guest, helping to bring it all down to reality here. Because what we're up to, we're moving forward with the Grassroots Coalition of the Informed. We are forming a coalition of like-minded individuals all around the world who are completely frustrated with conventional medicine, completely frustrated with conventional business practices, who are sick and tired of being sick and tired and broke, and who need to know alternatives to their dilemma. And, you know, if you're up against a high blood pressure problem, an asthma problem, a type 2 diabetes problem, a fibromyalgia problem, an infertility problem, etc., 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 you have two choices. You can go to the Internet, you can do a Google search, and you can try to figure it out yourself, and you can try to separate the wheat from the chaff. Or you can just listen to what we have to say, because my profession, members of my profession, the naturopathic medical profession, it's our job, it's our education, it's our job description to secure for you, the general public, science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery. We've already done the hard work. We've already done the heavy lifting. If you had a bad tooth, you wouldn't go to the Internet to try to fix it. You'd go to the dentist, because it's their job. Well, you know, a dentist is one thing, an MD is another. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired because the only medical treatment that you've known for your entire life is MD-directed medical treatment. You don't know that there's another way. You don't know that there's another type of medicine that's effective, and there is. However, there are only a couple of, there aren't that many licensed naturopathic doctors. I mean, less than 200. One of these days I'm going to secure the number. It's less than 200 licensed naturopathic physicians still in business who haven't retired, who have more than 20 years of clinical experience, and who have a clue. There's hundreds of millions of us. So what are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Am I going to, set up a clinic in every town in the United States? No. We're going to bring it to the streets. We're going to bring it to the Internet. We're going to introduce to you science-based, clinically verified, holistic health recovery protocols that you can start today, right now. No insurance copays, no office consultation charges, a little bit of work on your part. What's it going to involve? It's going to involve picking up the freaking phone and dialing in the radio show, picking up your computer and logging onto a website, aligning yourself with a community of like-minded individuals, and starting to take your health back for yourself. I mean, you got to take the reins here, folks. We'll show you the way. I can't, force the supplements down your throat. I can tell you what to do. You have to take action and start to do it on your own behalf, like hundreds of thousands of people all around the world have done. Now, here's a nice quote I like. The person who knows how will always have a job. The person who knows why will always be his boss. The person who knows how to do something will always have a job. And the person who knows why they're doing something will always be the boss. Now, which would you rather be, the boss? Would you rather be the queen bee or the worker bee? I mean, really, which would you rather do? Would you rather make money from everybody who works in your business, or would you just rather just make your own salary? I mean, which would you rather do? I mean, all things being equal, if I could wave a genie's wand and make that happen for you today, if you could have your boss's salary today or your own salary, which would you choose? Well, most of us would choose the boss's salary. Well, I have to tell you something. By joining Youngevity, becoming an associate with Youngevity, becoming a business builder with Youngevity, you can secure residual income, which will have a remarkable effect on your wealth while you are securing a remarkable effect on your health with Dr. Wallach's science-based, clinically verified nutritional support programs delivered for free by Youngevity. I mean, you have to pay for the supplements, but we're not going to pay you a consultation charge. Let's welcome one of our favorite guests here, Mike Randolph, the Vice President of Leadership Development with Youngevity. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming back. It's always a pleasure. Welcome aboard.
The pleasure and the honor is all mine, Doc. How's it going?
It's going very, very good today. Well, the heat wave here in the Midwest has finally subsided. It's been unbearably hot for the last 7 days. For goodness sake, I couldn't even go outside. And honest to God, I have the same experience every time I travel into the southern part of the United States, you know, like I go to the Carolinas or I go to Florida or I go to Mississippi or Louisiana to give a Youngevity event. I honestly don't know how they did it before there was air conditioning. I mean, like the Pilgrims and, you know, the Jamestown settlers and Ponce de Leon. I mean, how the heck did anybody live down there before there was air conditioning? I just don't get it.
Well, you know what? I think you know the answer to that because, you know what? If you don't know what you don't know, you'll put up with quite a bit, won't you?
Well, I guess you've got me there, buddy. I guess you've got me there, and I believe that's the case. So what you're telling me is I just have to get off my cushy New England butt and move down to the South, and then I'll just be able to deal with it. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. I'm a firm believer in technology and air conditioning myself, and who would have thunk that we finally would figure out what the greatest Canadian export is. I always thought it was beer. As it turns out, at the right time of the year, it's nice, fresh, cool air.
Boy, it's true. You know, when I was a kid, I was thinking about this the other day. I was the youngest of six. Still am, by the way, the youngest of six. And I had chores. We all had chores to do. But because I was the youngest of six, you know, I don't know if my brothers and sisters would agree that I had more chores. Let's just say I had some chores to do, right? One of the chores that I had to do was go to my grandmother's house. She lived right down the street from us once a week and put the big block of ice that the Iceman would deliver into her ice box. I'll never forget it. Once a week, the Iceman would come and drop off a big hunk of ice on her front porch, and it was my job to haul it into the kitchen, put it into the ice box, and clean up all the chips that had fallen. And, man, you know, that was like, wow, 45 years ago. Look at how far we've come, man, with technology just in 45 years. And if I have to make a prediction, Mike, I would say that the advances that we've made in technology in the last 50 years are going to be eclipsed by the advances that we're going to make socially in the next 50 years by engineering a millionaire-making money machine with Youngevity. Really, the sky here is the limit if you're a Youngevity distributor.
Well, you know, I agree with you 1,000%, and I think the technology of tomorrow is going to be embracing some of the things from the past, because if you look at network marketing, if you look at our industry, it really is based on some good old-fashioned values. It's based on the tried and true way of advertising and building business that's been going on for thousands upon thousands of years. Most people don't realize this, Doc, but, you know, TV and radio and the Internet, those are really Johnny-come-lately forms of advertising and forms of media. They've only been around for a few decades, and they're very faddish, aren't they? There was a time when the radio was where you went to advertise. That was how you reach people, but then it got eclipsed by television, and now television seems to be eclipsed by the Internet, and we are eclipsing all of those by just getting back to good old-fashioned, face-to-face, palm-to-palm, kneecap-to-kneecap, just networking. And, you know, I think there's a renaissance going on right now, not only here in the U.S., but around the world. People want to know who they're doing business with. People are sick and tired of going to the big box stores. They're sick and tired of going to, Walmart. They're sick and tired of going there and buying things that they don't even know where they came from. They don't know whether some poor 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 10-year-old kid in a sweatshop is producing this stuff, or if it was made, in a reasonable environment. There is definitely part of your grassroots coalition is a bunch of people that just want to get back to taking care of each other, getting good products. It's okay to spend a little more as long as you get the value out of it. And I think people are starting to realize that you don't always get what you pay for, but you definitely don't get what you don't pay for.
Well, there you go. And, this whole flat earth economic policy is a little bit ridiculous because it completely eliminates the human element of suffering and, being taken advantage of. So for goodness sake, Nike and Ralph Lauren and all of these people can have poor little Vietnamese kids put together their tennis shoes and their T-shirts and their suits and their socks and their belts. And then, for 10 cents a day, and then they import them to the United States. There's no more import tariffs. And then, they get rich on the back of other people's suffering, and the consumer is clueless. We don't know where this stuff's coming from. We don't know where it's made. And, I had that experience just last week. I went to one of the big box stores, and I got a polo golf shirt, and I threw it in the washer, and it came out. All the colors were faded. The material had pilled up, and it was a piece of crap. And, this is what it's coming to. We're getting what we pay for everywhere. I believe people are getting frustrated. I believe people are at the end of their ropes. I believe people are looking for good, honest product representation, and that is exactly what Youngevity brings to the table, ladies and gentlemen. Nice, old-fashioned honesty and integrity with science-based, clinically verified nutritional supplements. Stick around, folks. More with Mike Randolph when we come back. This is Fire Your MD Now. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. You're reminding you that only you can prevent allopathic reductionism. And it's true. We're suffering needlessly here. I mean, I stole away a couple of hours this morning, and I went out to the driving range. Golf is one of my passions, and I was lucky enough to be able to get out. We had some halfway decent weather today. So I'm out there hacking away at some golf balls and putting around. They have a little putting green there. And there were a bunch of little kids, probably 10, 11, 12-year-old kids who were there for golf school, maybe 20 of them, right? And it was right around lunchtime, and then all of a sudden the guy that was instructing them says, "Okay, kids, it's lunchtime." So 20 of these little kids, would-be golfers, run into the cafeteria or the little lunchroom, and they all come out, and here's what they're eating. They're eating hot dogs, which are loaded with nitrates, and when you heat a nitrate, it turns into a carcinogenic substance called a nitrosamine. They're eating it on whole wheat bread with margarine. Whole wheat bread, of course, is loaded with gluten, and gluten destroys the intestinal villi, the structures inside the intestinal tract that help the body to absorb nutrients. And margarine on the bun clogs arteries. Margarine clogs arteries, cholesterol does not. Margarine provokes inflammation inside the circulatory system. And to top it all off, they also had a bag of chips. Chips, of course, are fried. Fried food contains acrylamide, which is carcinogenic, and the icing on the cake, the cherry on the top of the icing on the cake, they were all washing everything that they were eating down with Coca-Cola, Pepsi, ginger ale, whatever, sparkling soda pop, and the bubbles in the soda pop neutralize stomach acid, making it virtually impossible for those kids to absorb any nutrients out of the food whatsoever. Calories, yes. Nutrients, no. And so these children unwittingly were eating all of the wrong foods and were 100% paving their way towards bad health. 100% paving their way towards bad health. I mean, if you saw a child on the side of the road trying to eat a dead animal, you would stop them. If you saw a child trying to drink milk that had curdled and gone bad, you would stop them. If you saw a child trying to eat an apple that some psychopath had put razor blades inside of, you would stop them, right? If you saw a child playing with a loaded gun, you would stop them. But we do not do anything when we see these kids. You know what I did? I walked over and gave them a talking to. And everybody's looking at me like I've got 16 heads and like I just fell out of the sky, you know, the man from Mars. I gave them the rundowns. I told them I was a doctor. I told them that everything that they were eating was bad and that they needed to get a clue big time. But, you know, they're 10, 11, 12 years old. The coach looked at me like I was an idiot. But what are you going to do? You have to say something. You have to make inroads. You have to start the conversation somewhere. And that's what we're doing with Youngevity. We're engaging people in an honest, open conversation, like Mike Randolph says, person to person, knee to knee, face to face, the old-fashioned way. And this is, I think, perhaps the biggest strength that Youngevity has, is an old-fashioned marketing. How do we do it? We do it knee-to-knee, face-to-face, cigar to cigar, cocktail to cocktail, glass of wine to glass of wine, or if you're a teetotaler, you know, lapsang souchon to lapsang souchon. It's a fantastic opportunity. It's a fantastic business to be involved with. Now, Mike, I could go on and on, and I probably will. I'll continue to go on and on. Give me some news inside the Youngevity community. What's new? Is there any breaking news that I'm not aware of?
Well, you know what? Not that it has anything to do with what you're talking about, but a press release just went out today. The company's official name is now Youngevity International. That just changed officially today. So those of you that pay attention to the stock market, that new stock symbol, YGYI, Youngevity International. Check us out. You know what? There's an old adage, buy low, sell high. In fact, if you can do that, Doc, you will 100% always make money. If you can buy low and sell high, you can make money. Unfortunately, most people buy high and sell low, and you know, you need to be in a position to take advantage of that. So buy low and sell high, and you know what, your fortunes are assured. But, Doc, I have a question for you. I listened to your opening and what you just talked about, and, you know, we're getting blitzed and blasted with news, and I'm going to turn the table a little bit. I need to ask you a couple questions.
Well, hold that thought, big guy. Hold that thought, big guy, because I don't know when to stop talking. We're up against a hard break. You hold that thought. I'll do my very best to take a swing at it when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, check it out on the World Wide Web. You know where to go. FireYourMDNow.com. That's right, FireYourMDNow.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, your friendly neighborhood naturopath, reminding you that only you can prevent allopathic reductionism. We're talking with Mike Randolph today. Mike, what I would like you to educate me about, if you can, I mean, if this is your wheelhouse, is a little bit more about the whole stock market thing. What's the difference between penny stocks and regular stocks, and are there different degrees of stocks that are available through the stock market? And if so, how does Youngevity fit into that bigger picture?
Holy smokes. Well, that's not completely in my wheelhouse, but I do have a little experience in that area coming from the financial services business years ago. You know, penny stocks are really what they imply. They're usually stocks that are $1 a share or less, and, you know, they're young companies, typically startup companies. Tremendous opportunity there. Typically, however, there's also not tremendous risk, but there's some decent risk. You know, there's Wall Street has been kind of renovated in the last few years. There's, I think, less risk now than there has been in the past with penny stocks. But what you want to look at is you want to look at companies that aren't just publicly traded, but companies that are fully reporting, meaning that they report all the profits, they report all the dollars that come in, all the dollars that go out. They report all the incomes of the executives. Everything is transparent, and there are companies that you would call penny stock companies that do that, just like IBM, just like General Motors, just like all of these blue chip companies that are out there. And Youngevity happens to be one of those companies. We're on our way, moving from what's called an OTC stock, which just means over-the-counter, or a penny stock. We're on our way to moving up. We've been in the process for the last, I guess, year and a half of going through all of the regulatory hoops to make sure that we are satisfying even the most stringent critics in the Wall Street community. And we're starting to get the attention of a lot of brokerages. We're starting to get the attention of a lot of folks because our numbers are great. We're a profitable company. We're a growing company. We don't have complaints. We don't have big looming lawsuits. We don't have all this crazy stuff that is going on across all of business here in America because we do things a little different here. We don't cut corners. We don't, play games with people and with our customers and our representatives. We've got all of our cards on the table, and I can't give anyone any financial advice. I can just say that if you like investing, you probably want to have your broker, your financial advisor, your financial planner, you may want to have them take a closer look at YGYI. You can decide whether, owning a part of a company like this fits into your financial plans. But I can tell you I am extremely proud to be a part of this company, especially in seeing everything that's done on the inside and how we always err on the side of doing what's right for our customers, doing what's right for our distributors. The company always comes third, but that doesn't mean that, the company is hurt or, weak by any means. When you have such terrific products and when you have such terrific leaders and when you have a corporate team and a corporate staff that all are, facing in the same direction. One of the things that's so unique about Youngevity is our leaders in the field, these independent representatives that market our products. We give them the opportunity to own a piece of the company at what really could be a discount. The CEOs and the upper echelons in corporate America, they get to exercise stock options. They've all heard of stock options. They don't know exactly what that is. They just know it's usually a good thing. What we do is when distributors reach certain ranks, when they achieve certain sales goals, we award them what's called a stock option. And that stock option is the right, but not the obligation. It's the right to purchase stock at today's price at some time in the future. Now, we all are looking forward, expecting that the price of our stock is going to continue to rise. And if you have an option to purchase stock at today's price, but you don't have to purchase it until a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, chances are, if we stay on track, we're all hoping that the price of the stock in the future will be much higher than it is right now. Imagine being in a position, Doc, where a year from now or 3 years from now, 5 years from now, you can purchase Youngevity stock at the price it was 5 years ago, but the value is much higher than that. That's really what a stock option is. And just to give you an example, imagine if you had stock options in Apple Computer when Apple Computer was a small company. If you could have gotten stock for 50 cents a share, but buying that today when the stock is, hundreds of dollars per share, imagine how happy you would be. That's just one of the things that makes Youngevity so unique, not just in corporate America, but in the direct sales industry. We are one of the few, if not the only one, that extends that kind of ownership prospect to our distributors. We want everyone to have skin in the game. We want everyone pointed in the same direction, and for us, that is up.
Well, we talk about being contrarians, and being contrarians often is looked at as a negative thing, but in this regard, it's really the only way out of the monkey house. So we're contrarian when it comes to conventional medicine. Well, why? Because we're against conventional medicine? No, because conventional medicine doesn't work. And we have a way that does work, but nobody knows the way that we know, and so it appears to be swimming upstream. It appears to be a contrarian message. I mean, from my perspective, I don't practice alternative medicine. The only people that call what I do alternative are the MDs, right? So, but nonetheless, we're swimming upstream. We're going against the culture here because nobody knows who we are or what we do. And that, in fact, is why Dr. Wallach chose to set this company up as a network business in order to populate this message through a grassroots method. Now, the other thing is, right, we're contrarian about how we make money. Not because for the sake of being contrarian, but because the way that we've been taught to make money just doesn't work. The way that we've been taught to make money here just really doesn't pay out, and really the only people that it benefits are the bosses, and not the workers, not the worker bees, the queen bee. The queen bee gets the money and, you know, all of the honey, and the worker bees die. And before they die, they suffer, and then they die. And, you know, we've been socialized to believe that, oh, you know, poverty is noble, and you just have the work ethic, and it's really the work is the thing, not the numbers in the bank account, and it's okay to, you know, have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of credit card debt at 32% interest. You got to be kidding me. This is what we've all gotten on board with. This is what we've all signed up for, not because we took a conscious decision to sign up for it, but just because that's really the only show in town. That's the only thing they taught us in school. That's the only thing we had any idea about whatsoever growing up, and we just kind of got in line. Got to make a living. Got to do that somehow. You know, we're not all Donald Trump where, you know, your father gives you a couple of $1 million when you graduate from high school and go get 'em, kid. We're not all that fortunate. So we're contrarian not by design, but contrarian because we're smart. And really, the more that I think about the longevity business model, the more impressed I am by it, and the more, honestly, the more angry that I get over time, because holy smokes, it's an old saw, right? But if I only knew then what I knew now. I mean, if somebody, I was a smart kid, I'm a smart student. I was top of my class in high school, top of my class in medical school. I'm not tooting my own horn, but, you know, if somebody had, well, I guess I am tooting my own horn. My point is, if somebody had just laid this out for me when I was in college, I would have been all in. But nobody did lay it all out for me. And the cultural meme that we've had to fight against for the last 50 years is that network marketing is a pyramid scheme, and you're going to load your garage, and you're going to have all of this unwanted product, and you're going to chase away all your friends, and it's a bad business model, and you shouldn't do it. And the people that own the company are going to sell the company. They're going to leave you high and dry, and you're going to be SOL. And, you know, it couldn't be further from the truth. I think that there are a couple of network marketing companies that have, you know, rotten apples that have maybe spoiled it for the rest of the bunch. But when you take an objective look at longevity, I mean, longevity has impeccable credit. I mean, they have the top of the line credit for a business their size in this industry. That nobody has better credit than longevity. They've never been late with a check. They don't borrow from Peter to pay Paul. They offer stock options to their associates and business builders. They want everybody to have skin in the game. And their compensation payout plan is extremely generous. And, oh, yes, by the way, if it doesn't benefit you to purchase longevity products in any particular calendar month, well, guess what? You don't have to purchase any particular longevity product in a calendar month. You still maintain your position in the network. You're not booted out. You're not penalized. It is an extremely, it is a compensation plan which is put together to favor the distributor, not the company. Now, you know, the company isn't left hanging in the wind. The company is doing quite well, thank you very much. But the point I'm trying to make here is when you compare longevity's compensation plan, how longevity pays its distributors, and you compare that to how Amway pays its distributors, how New Skin pays its distributors, and how every other network marketing company pays their distributors, longevity's compensation plan is right up there with the best of them. And I believe that you're right. I don't think there are any other network marketing companies that offer stock options. And, you know, this is a big deal because we all need to get a clue. We're all suffering from vitamin deficiencies. We're all suffering from financial deficiencies. And this is the way out. And honestly, also, Mike, I love the people that are attracted to longevity. I love the people that are attracted to longevity. It's a different crowd. They're self-starters. They're motivated. And, you know, everybody's kind of a little contrarian. It's kind of fun hanging out with people that are of the same mindset from all over the world. And this, I think, is one of the things we don't talk about much. We talk about the products. Oh, yeah, they're great. We talk about the compensation plan. Oh, yeah, it's great. We talk about the stock options. Isn't that great? We talk about the car bonuses and all of that. But really, what it all boils down to at the end of the day is, what are you going to be doing? You're going to be talking to people. Well, what kind of people are you going to be talking to? Look, man, if you're a Republican, you're going to hate talking to Democrats. If you're a Democrat, you're going to hate talking to Republicans. You're going to want to talk to people who are of the same mindset, and that's exactly what you'll find when you join Longevity. Check it out online, fireyourmdnow.com. Click on the Longevity button. Join us. Come along for the ride. I look forward to meeting you in person someday. Hang out, folks. We've got 5 minutes with Mike Randolph left when we're coming back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here with Mike Randolph, finishing up the first hour. Then we're going to be taking your calls live in the second hour. That number, 866-582-9933. Lines are open, 866-582-9933. And for subscription holders, remember, tonight we have an extra live chat session. We added an extra live chat session for the well-informed, to make the well-informed even more well-informed, in order to add a little cherry to the top of our subscription service, an extra live chat tonight. We normally don't do a Tuesday night live chat, but we are tonight. Why? Because that's how we roll, baby. So, Mike, here's the deal. Longevity is moving forward at a rapid pace. We're in Success from Home magazine now. We're in the top 100 of network marketing companies. I'm thinking, if God forgiving, the creek don't rise, I think the future looks pretty good. What do you think?
The future looks brighter than ever. And while you were talking before the last break, it came to me, people need to understand not only the difference between your brand of medicine and the MD's brand of medicine, but they need to understand the difference between the longevity business model and the corporate America business model, and why we're looked at funny sometimes. And, corporate America is a game, and I'm gonna liken that to a game of chess. And I'm going to say longevity is also a game, but I'm going to liken that to checkers. Now, chess is kind of a complicated game. Checkers is a much simpler game. The board looks very similar, but, if you brought a checkerboard to a chess tournament, people are going to look at you funny. People are going to point fingers at you. They're going to think you don't belong because you got a checkerboard at a chess tournament. But let me explain to you the difference. The chessboard is mostly pawns. And you know what? Those of us that are living that corporate America lifestyle, I hate to say it, chances are you're a pawn. And the bad thing about pawns in corporate America is they never get to be anything but a pawn. There's only one king on the board, and a pawn is always a pawn, and the king is always the king. Now, if you look at checkers, Doc, checkers, every single piece on that board has the same power, has the same abilities and the same potential, and any single one of them can become king. And not only that, more than one of them can become king, because they all have the same opportunity to excel. They all have the same opportunity to win. All they have to do is get from one side of that board to the other. The deck is stacked against you in corporate America because you're on the chessboard and you're a pawn. In longevity, everyone has the same opportunity. You just have to do the work and get from one side of that board to the other, and you can be king. In fact, every single piece on that board has the same ability and the same chance to become king. And that, to me, is one of the simplest ways to explain why longevity is so different, why people point at us and laugh sometimes, because they don't know what they don't know that they don't know about where they are in the corporate America system, and we know exactly where we stand, and we all have the same chance to become king.
And let me tell you something, baby. It is good. Oh, it is very, very, very good to be king. I mean, my head just exploded, Mike. That's the most perfect analogy that I've ever heard. Succinct, elegant, simple, to the point. I mean, I'm gonna repeat that one a million times a week because it really drove it home for me. And this is another thing that we bring to the table here, folks, teamwork. Nobody can do it all by themselves, and when you join Longevity, not only do you get the chance to be king, but you get to hang out with other people who are trying to do exactly the same thing. And I got to tell you something, that's good company. And you know what I always say, that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Thanks, Mr. Randolph. It's always a pleasure. I will see you next Tuesday, God willing, and the creek don't rise. It's always a pleasure to have you on, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fire Your MD Now, taking your calls when we come back. Give me a shout, 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. The second hour coming up after these messages.